say that was one of the scariest things I've ever done. And welcome back to part 3 of this 3-part adventure into the Olympics that I took in 2021. This is the big traumatic adventure, and the part where, wow, it took me months to get over what happened on this trip, which is why this thing is coming out in April of 2022 instead of July, August of 2021. Without much, fanfare or anything else, let's get right into the adventure, and I will see you on the end. Beautiful sunlight coming in through the trees. Anyways, good morning. Good morning. Today we're heading back out. It's going to take us about 5 days, which is kind of because we have the days. We took the time off from work. We've got the days. We can spend as many hours on the trails we want, as many hours in camp as we want. And that's what we're going to do on the way out. We're just going to mosey on out. We're going to head back up to the high divide, which is about 1,400 feet and 2.5 miles, 3.5 miles. So it's going to be a long, strenuous day, but we kind of knew that coming down that damn thing. And then, tonight again up at high divide or low divide, and then hopefully I'm hoping I can get up and take some photos of the stars again tonight. But we'll see you on the trail as we huff and we puff all the way up to the low divide. We are back at Low Divide. It was quite the climb. Bugs. It was quite the climb, and considering I don't do well in heat and sun exposure, we did pretty well. We just took it nice and slow and ate it all the way up. It took a lot of breaks for water and electrolytes and snacks. And before we knew it, we were at the top at Low Divide and back into the meadow, setting up camp. But it was a hot, strenuous day, and now we're just kind of resting in camp before dinner and the night sky. It is absolutely, the blue in the sky right now is just phenomenal. You could paint it this blue and nobody would believe you. In fact, I couldn't photograph this and have people believe me that this is the blue that is in the sky right now. It's just stunning. So it's the morning again, and last night after dinner, Christy and I decided to meander through the meadows again. There were some beautiful clouds in the sky, and kind of hoping for, some late evening or early evening, late afternoon light on the clouds. And we get to the meadow just beyond camp, and we ran into the bears again. And there was a big one, and we're believing she's probably a sow. And there was two smaller ones hanging around, and we think those are adolescents. Those were her young'uns. They're old enough to be away from mama, so she's trying to maintain her distance. And as the cubs or the adolescents approach, she chases them away. And we saw this last night, and Christy got it on video. I just sat there going. So and I was really nervous about it because it's kind of aggressive behavior, especially since the young ones were hanging out in that same meadow, and we didn't want to get between her and one of the adolescents. But we did go out to the meadow for a little bit, got some photos, and came back and had to walk between her and one of the others. But we saw the one that she had been chasing up the hill a little bit. So just talked to them both, walked through them very carefully, and made it back to camp safely, thankfully. And then last night we decided to get up and try and photograph the Milky Way. And Christy was using her cell phone. It looks like she got some images of the Milky Way. I'm not seeing the Milky Way in any of my images. I know I got something there. It had tons of stars. The exposures were absolutely perfect and spot on, but I'm just not seeing Milky Way. And it's just kind of like, so I'm just going to have to wait till I get back to put them up on my computer and see what happens. But today we're going to be heading back down the hill towards 16-mile camp. We'll be first hiking through the meadows and waterlogged trails, and then slowly making our way down the, a little bit faster than we came up, I guess, but down the a forest filled with ancient cedars. And there's a few washouts that are going to freak me out because washouts, I don't do well on washouts. But I made it up on those washouts, so I can make it down on those washouts. And then we'll be at 16 Mile, which is right along the North Fork of Quinault, and that was the water crossing that gave us some trouble before, and we're hearing that it's really low now, so it shouldn't cause us too many problems on the way back. We'll be crossing it first thing in the morning tomorrow anyways, and I will see you out there hiking. We're back at 16 Mile Camp, and it was just really nice hike down. No problems at all. We've been kind of lounging around the afternoon in the sun on the banks of the river that we're going to have to cross tomorrow morning. Good thing is, even though this was a river that gave us trouble on the way up, 5 days ago or so, it is not going to give us as much trouble because the river has dropped at least 2 feet. And so we'll be able to cross it pretty easily in the morning. And right now we're just enjoying the day, and I love this forest. I love this park. And I'll see you in the morning. The morning, and we just crossed the North Fork Quinault again. This was a lot easier than last time. You can still feel the river pulling at you, but it wasn't as high, and it wasn't as swift, and it wasn't as furious. So we made it across. We're gonna have a little bit to a hot drink because it was, oh my freaking refrigerator, it was cold. So we're gonna have a hot drink before we head up the trail, and our next stop is Trapper Camp, which is at Trapper Shelter, which we saw on the way in, and we'll be spending the night there, and I'll see you on the trail. Yeah, where's my camera? So we made it to camp, and it was quite the day. After we got across the river, there was no problems, but then we got about a mile outside of camp, and I took a tumble. I obviously was not watching where I was going, and just went ass over tea kettle down a ravine, and the only thing that stopped me was my trekking pole got wedged and jerked me to a stop, and I have punctures and scrapes and bruises, and my knee hurts, my ankle hurts, my arm hurts where I was jerked to a stop, and I got my sister and Hugh pulled out their first aid kits, got me back up the hill, and got me patched up, and so right now, we're in camp. I'm just gonna lay down. And it was a pretty scary experience. I don't like doing that, so.
I did not push her. I promise I did not push her.
So, yeah. So lay down, take a rest, and then I will see you in the morning. Good morning. Pain aside, I'm doing okay. I'm just aching a lot from the fall. But we ended up taking refuge into our tents early last night because of the bugs. They just were relentless. So after dinner, before dinner, we dove into our tents. We came out for dinner, dove back into our tents. But we're up and at 'em this morning. A little bit later, I kind of lounged around in my sleeping bag, and Hugh and Christy were nice enough to let me do that. And but we're almost all packed up and ready to hit the trail. So let's see what it has to offer. We've made it to our final camp, and one more night in the wilderness, and then we have to go back home. And mixed feelings. I love it out here. It was a beautiful trip. Amazing things I saw, did. I crossed a river twice. In fact, the camp is right on the river, just, oh gosh, how many more miles? 16 miles? No, 10 miles past where we were camped 2 nights ago, and the river looks so much different here. Gorgeous, beautiful blue turquoise. But it's also been a difficult trip for me. There was a lot of trail washouts that really freaked me out, and I fell down a cliff. Yeah, not fun. But yeah, one more night, and it's a beautiful camp, a beautiful area that we're staying in, and I'm going to enjoy it. And then, yeah, back to that other world. It's our final day, and we only have about 2.5, 3 miles to go today. It's pretty mild, and so not a lot of steep climbs or steep downhills or cliffs to fall off of. I'm feeling fine. I'm still achy, but I will survive. A really sweet thing was when we were at 16 Mile the second night, we met up with a couple of sisters from Boston. And they joined us last night here at camp. they had gone up to the low divide and back down one day. They spent the night up at low divide, and then they came down here one day. Obviously, they're young and spry and energetic, but it was really nice chatting with them, and they are now headed to the coast to experience Washington's wild coast. But we are headed out. We luckily have a reservation at one of the local resorts, and a shower will feel so good and get the stank off the body. And let's go see what the trail has to hold. I know there is a maple grove that I want to stop and admire on the way out. So I'll see you on the trail. So yeah, I fell off a cliff. There's a lot to process on that. One of my biggest fears when I'm hiking is to fall. I'll fall to my maimment, and I wasn't quite maimed, but I tore my rotator cuff, ruptured my bicep, and needed to go in for surgery in September. 6 months later, I can finally put on a bra like a normal human being. You guys probably won't appreciate that, but you ladies will. And not only did it tear up my body, I went into my little lizard brain. I just kind of shut down everything. I was having a hard time photographing. I mean, heck, I didn't even get to these videos until, 6-7 months later. All my creativity just went out the window. I couldn't write. And I really focused the last couple months on trying to get back to a place that I'm comfortable with. I re-explored some photographic techniques that I used to love and stopped doing. Picked those back up. Picked up some paintbrushes again. My sister got me started in soft pastels, and went out on some writing retreats just to get myself back to a place where I could function more than just, waking up, eating, sleeping, and working. I could barely work sometimes. I completely had a breakdown a couple months ago, and that breakdown was needed for me to get to a point where I could say, I like me, I like what has happened to me, I can do this. So I'm coming back. I am coming back. Other than that, I mentioned in the previous video at the end that I am writing a couple of books. I've got the 2 big books on the state parks that I'm trying to get finished. And then I'm also writing some guides on forest photography and street photography. Those who know me know I love street photography. It was something that got me out of my previous depression. And so I really wanted to be able to share some of what I know with others. And so look forward to those. I'm working on them right now. Hope to have them out soon, by the end of summer at least. I've got a lot of adventures coming up. In fact, we're hiking up the same trail that I fell off of. So we're doing that in August. So look forward towards that one. That'll be another 3-part series likely. And until the next time, make sure you like this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check out the previous videos if you hadn't seen them before. And I will see you on the next adventure. Bye.